Most people run from crocodiles, but Ambo, he jumped into the water and wrestled one. He wasn't a hero, just a humble fisherman trying to feed his family. But what happened after that rescue, years later, shocked his entire village. This isn't just a story about a wild animal. It's about loyalty, legacy, and how a single act of kindness can echo across decades. Ambo lived in a quiet fishing village on the Benton Islands, a place where the river met the sea. Every morning before sunrise, he'd take his old wooden boat and slip through the narrow river channel, out toward calmer waters. He fished not for luxury, but survival. Every haul went to support his newborn son, Booty. Ambo dreamed of something different for his boy, an education, a future beyond the nets and tides that had bound him his whole life. The seas were changing. Massive shipping boats had started passing through, bringing money, yes, but also pollution. Plastic bags now floated where fish once swam freely. Still, Ambo stayed the course. Fishing was in his blood, and on most days the rhythm of the water gave him peace. But one morning, that peace was shattered. It was just after dawn. Ambo was out early, alone as usual. He cast his lines and leaned back, hoping for a quiet moment to watch the sunrise. Then, whip! One of his fishing rods snapped violently to the side and flew into the water. At first, he thought it was a large fish, but then a shadow passed under the boat, long, jagged, and alive. Suddenly, with a violent splash, a green body lunged from the water, jagged teeth, sharp eyes. A young crocodile, maybe 3 feet long, thrashed wildly, its head shaking. Ambo froze. But then he saw it. A plastic bag was wrapped around its mouth, tangled tightly. The animal was suffocating. He didn't think. He didn't hesitate. Ambo dove into the water. The fight was fierce. The crocodile bucked and twisted, dragging Ambo beneath the surface. But Ambo was strong. Years of hauling nets had built his strength. With one final pull, he yanked the plastic bag free from its jaws. The crocodile stopped struggling. It stared at Ambo, just for a second, then slipped away into the deep. Soaked and breathless, Ambo climbed back onto his boat. He wrung out his shirt, heart still racing. He had no idea. This wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Weeks passed, then months. Life went on. Until one day, as Ambo was returning home down the river, he heard splashing behind him. He turned and couldn't believe it. The same crocodile was following his boat. His first instinct? Fear. But the animal wasn't aggressive. It swam gently beside him, even nudging the boat softly like a curious pet. Cautiously, Ambo tossed her a fish from his catch. She snapped it up and kept swimming next to him, all the way to shore. When he docked, his wife screamed, "Ambo, there's a crocodile behind you." But Ambo just laughed. "It's okay," he said. "She's with me." From that day on, the crocodile, whom Ambo named Risa, returned often. Not every day, but often enough that she became part of their lives. Years passed. Ambo's son, Booty, grew up feeding Risa alongside his father. Fish became her favorite, but on special days, she'd get chicken or even beef. Sometimes Risa would disappear for weeks, but without fail, she'd return, swimming up the river like clockwork, as if checking in on her old friend. If she didn't show, Ambo would take out his boat and search for her, like any pet owner looking for a lost dog. He didn't just care for her, he loved her. Even when he traveled for work, he'd leave instructions with his neighbors to feed Risa. She was never left hungry. One day, years later, Ambo took Booty on a fishing trip out of town. While they were gone, Ambo's wife called him, barely able to contain her voice. "She's back," she said. "Risa came looking for you." The neighbors, remembering the old story, helped feed her. The next day, Ambo returned home, and there she was, waiting in the shallows like always. Only this time, she wasn't small anymore. Risa had grown. She now spanned 23 feet long, a full-sized, formidable beast. But the moment they saw each other again, she didn't lunge, didn't growl. Instead, she gently floated near his boat, like a giant puppy waiting to be petted. She remembered. Over the next 2 decades, Risa visited regularly. Whenever she was injured, which sometimes happened, Ambo would call a vet, even if they were too scared to come near. One even guided Ambo from a distance, giving him medicine and instructions. No one believed a crocodile could trust a human this deeply. But Ambo and Risa proved everyone wrong, and the impact? It rippled. Booty, now a teenager, was inspired by his father's bond with Risa. He started collecting plastic along the riverbanks each weekend, trying to protect other animals from suffering like she did. His dream? To become a politician, one who actually fights pollution, not just talks about it. Risa, in her own wild way, had changed more than one life. When Ambo jumped into that water years ago, he had no idea what would come of it. He didn't expect a reward. He wasn't trying to make headlines. He just saw a creature in pain and did what he knew was right. And for that, he gained a lifelong friend, a bond no one could understand, but everyone respected. Because sometimes the wildest stories aren't the ones we invent. They're the ones we live, one act of kindness at a time. If this story moved you even a little, do one small thing today. Pick up a piece of trash, feed a stray, help someone without expecting anything back. You never know what or who might come swimming back into your life. And if you want more real-life stories like this one, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Because at the Inspired Inkwell, we don't just tell stories, we live them.